Yeah, normally we start 7 or 8 in the morning, but just because today we have this webinar, so yeah, we bump it down a little bit. And the one of the attending I invited, he have something this morning also, so he gonna try it late, so that's why.
Let's see.
Okay, so let me go ahead and start it. Let's see who else coming. Sarah and Kan is on the way. Okay, so welcome everyone. This is I try to make it annually, right, Edmund? So hopefully we have more people match every year. So this is the 2018 match webinar. Yes.
Yeah, this year we really have very potential candidate, and yeah, I'm very happy that they all match. That's awesome.
Yeah, I think the 4 candidates that we know, we have a sense that they going to match, and yes, they did match. Yeah,
that's great. And yeah,
right. Go ahead. Yes.
No, just last year too, Trung, I think she did not match last year, but I saw on her Facebook that she matched this year also. So yeah, so happy for her.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Where's Sarah? You know, the funny thing about those, I think they are celebrating their success and somewhere out there. Maybe they get drunk and so those are the people here that actually don't have anything to do with math. And we celebrate.
Yeah.
Okay, actually, that's a good idea too. And so everyone here, we can talk about other things is math.
Okay.
So I'd like to tell you this. My sister is in town today, so actually I'm going to take her out to the airport to Michigan tonight. So I think either Dong and Min or Andin will take host. So I make Andin as a host. Yes. And then,
please.
But Dr. Dong Dang, I'm happy that you're still alive. I thought that I see you too.
I'm happy that I'm alive too. I thought I was dead.
Yeah.
I'm on
What's
ICU.
going on?
I'm on ICU, so I can't stay up late.
You see, Dong, I'm trying to survive. I'm so tired. Yeah.
You can't beat me on this one. I have to wake up at 3 every day to go to work. So I've been going to bed like at 6:30 at night.
Okay, I don't want to put you on that, okay?
I know.
Just like going through residency again. Wow.
It works, man.
Yeah,
way
even
worse than that.
Worse, yeah. A lot of responsibility.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have a lot of things to share, and ask our new intern to step up their game and keep the attending happy. Otherwise, attending will go crazy if they have horrible attending or intern or resident.
Okay, so let me actually go ahead and start it at 6 p.m. already. So I will hopefully Sarah and other people will share their story. I think it's more fun than me or Min or even Dr. Dong. We talking, but we're waiting. So none of them show up yet. So I will remind them. But let me walk with you some figures that I learned today. The 2018 mark by now today is the largest mark in the NRMP history. This year there is 44,000 registered applicants, and there were 33,000 positions. So it's kind of interesting. So 44,000 apply, but to the rank list, there are only 37 people submit their rank list, and that 37,000 compete for 33,000 positions. Now, the couple of things that I would like to share with you in terms of this year match. Number one is the number of DO, Doctor of Osteopathy graduates should increase tremendously. It's just like, oh my gosh, I see that. And when you guess how many thousand they increase from last year to this year? They increase from around 2,000 to 6,000 this year. So the DO school alone make almost 4,000 graduates. Very impressive. I mean, It's very impressive.
Where all those new grads come from? This 4,000. Wow, it's impressive.
It's very impressive. Now, with that in mind, if I look at that data, guess what happened? Out of 6,000, the newly graduates only 3,000 something. So that means 2,000 graduates from last year did not match, and they reapplied this year. Very interesting figure.
Wow.
Yes.
But so DO, most of them from US, right? Most of DO from US.
All of them from US.
Yeah, I think just a few DO school historically from Russia, I believe. But I don't know any other DO outside US. That's quite impressive number, 6,000.
Look like ACGME is bought by the DO system.
Well, but don't you know that next year there's no DO match? Okay, so the DO match will slowly phase out. So DO now of the ACGME, believe it or not. I mean, sometime I think I shared with you guys story back in 1960 here in California. If you are DO, you can convert to an MB for $1. Well, so most of the doctor, they do that except one guy, and this guy from AT Steel, the school of DO in Kentucky. And because he did not convert, so the DO system is still alive up until this year. It's an amazing story to tell you that sometimes a stubborn can make the whole specialty survive. Well, where's Sarah? That's kind of interesting. I hope she will come.
Hope she's not drunk and.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, I saw some hand. Just raise your hand. Okay, if you guys are here, we just raise your hand. Okay, because I like to make this more informal and it's more fun rather than. But let me highlight with you a couple more interesting figures that I like to share with you, because this is just amazing how they come up with. All right. So in terms of more graduate, primary care this year, about half them, 15,000 positions were in primary care, so include family medicine, internal medicine, and pediatrics. And guess what? The number of people that applying to pediatrics and internal medicine graduate from US continue to decrease, while US graduates, they apply more to family medicine. But still, about 42% of US program internal medicine filled with US graduates versus about 45% family medicine residency filled with US graduates. One thing that caught my eye is emergency medicine. This year, they offer 2,278. This is a lot. I recall back in the day that we apply. I don't know if you remember, Dong. We don't have that many, but this year, just a lot of them. So I think it's quite interesting to see how they, how far they go. So let me share with you some figure here. As you can see right here, right? The emergency is that one. And other specialty. Okay, now to go on to this, and this is more relevant to Vietnamese doctor. So about, let's say, 44,000 people apply, and yes, so the DO graduate 1,000 to 6,000 here. And something interesting about this too. So US citizen who went to medical school in the Caribbean, but they match at 57%. This is one of the best numbers since 1993. Now, this is applied to Vietnamese doctor, non-US citizen, IMG. This year, it's one of the best number to 56%. That means 100 people apply, 56 match. But you have to remember those numbers include every applicant from India, China, Philippines, Pakistan. Well, so there's about 1,200 positions unfilled during the sub process. So those are, again, you can go back to the main website, NRMP, to get more about the information, but this is quite impressive. So that's finished my highlight for this match. The bottom line is more people apply and more competitive. That's it. I mean, it's obviously you can tell that. And I hope every year we'll have more Vietnamese doctor matching to this. And I let this go back to Anh Minh because he's one of the key person doing the summer year. Please go ahead, Anh Minh.
Yeah, so again, this time is to meet and greet the new intern, those who just got matched. We're still waiting for them to join us, but we have a few over here that new face over here that I don't know yet. I don't know Nhị Hoàng, and user Minh Phương, Lê, Nguyễn Trọng Khiết, Nguyễn Nguyên. Yeah, can you introduce yourself a little bit so that it will be easier for us to direct our talk today? Maybe let's start with Nhị Hoàng.
Yes, good morning. I mean, good evening there. This is the third time I joined the group of VietMD, and because I'm preparing for my USMLE too, so I'm really fascinated about this meeting. Yeah, I'm working here as a child psychiatrist, and now I will move to US in the end of this year or next year. So I'm preparing for my USMLE. Yeah, really nice to meet all of you, and thank you for organizing this meeting and this place for people to practice English.
Thank you, Nhi. Your English is awesome. I will tell you one thing. English is one of the key factors if you would like to apply to your US residency, and you're doing very well. Thank you. And by the way, Sarah, she's here. So we're waiting for Sarah. So I let Sarah talk a lot about her journey, why, and what makes she decided, and how. Congratulations, Sarah.
Yeah, congratulations, Sarah.
Yeah, thank you, anh Nguyên. Thank you, anh Minh.
So this is right? Actually, I think by far you the only one show up here, so you can take all.
Yeah, for you
Okay.
it's a real journey. So yeah, I don't know how much you plan to share with everybody over here, but yeah, it's up to you. But at least the journey from the time you decide to apply and got matched is, yeah, your story is quite impressive. Okay, Sarah.
Where do you match to, Sarah?
Baltimore.
Baltimore?
Yeah, Maryland, Baltimore. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you're gonna come by and visit me?
Well, where are you in? No.
I'm in Virginia.
Oh, this is close by. Yeah.
that's
3 hours
close
away.
by.
3 hours away. Yeah.
You guys,
Wow.
I close time.
Oh,
Well,
I don't know.
let's meet in
Yeah,
DC
okay, yeah.
then. I don't think Ronald is a good place to meet. DC it is then.
Yeah.
Yeah, DC.
I think I want to go to sleep meeting this year, so I'll be up in Baltimore in June, I think. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, like
Okay.
I'll probably gonna be there by then. I think.
Yeah, we have VietMD chapter in DC area then.
Let's do it. I think we're the only people here.
Because you have to fight with Donald Trump. You know, to make sure that you.
Oh no.
Okay? Yes, I think I let you take care of that, especially Don. Okay, you take care of that problem, Don.
Be careful, Donald Trump.
Yeah.
He's my hero. He's my hero. Why would I take care of him?
Oh my God. You know, California is the state of Democrat.
Last year I told the whole University of Michigan that Donald Trump gonna win, and the whole fellowship that I was there was by surprise. They're like, why? No. I said, no, he's gonna win. Because America is not ready for female president yet, and white supremacists still gonna rule. So I told them he's gonna win. Nobody believed me.
Okay.
Well, now they do.
Okay, yeah, Sarah, go ahead with
Okay.
your story.
Okay, so my name is Sarah. Vietnamese name is Khan. So which that was one as well. So let me talk a little bit about my background. So I'm born in Vietnam, Ho Chi Minh City. I decided to go to medical school in Hungary. And after like the first 2 years of medical school, I decided that I want to like do my residency in the US. So I start to do some research into like the application process, the art that I will be able to get in, etc. And I realized that it's super hard. And it took a while for me to decide that, okay, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do this. So in my school, it's a 6-year program, so you have to wait until the end of 4th year before you can take USMLE. So I didn't really prepare for it that well. I started to study for step 1 in, I think, the end of my 4th year, and then I have about a semester, so about 4 months to study during medical school during 5th year. It's didn't go well at all. Because my school don't really like focus on sending students like to do residency abroad, so they didn't really give you time to do and take the exam. And for Hungary, they don't have a exam center, so I have to fly to either France or Germany to take the step 1. So I have to use a month during my exam period in school to take my step 1. So I pretty burned out after all the exam and then the step 1 on top of it. So my step 1 didn't really like meet my expectation. I like get the average score. I was hoping for like 240 or something, but I got about like 228. So it didn't really go as planned. So it took me like 2 months to like think about like my option, because I know that for an IMG, like they always talk that for an IMG you need like 240 to 50 to like have a chance. So I did think about it like because I don't want to spend a lot of like resources on the thing that we're not gonna be like achievable. But I just decided that, well, I got my step 1 and my school have a program for us to spend 6 months of our 6 years in the US doing rotations. So I said like, well, I just gonna do that, and then I'll see if I really like the like working environment, the system there, and then I'll decide. So I did my 6. I think I did 4 month in the US in Brooklyn, New York. And then I found out I really love it. I really, really, really like it. So I said like, well, to hell with it, I gotta do it. So I took my step 2 CS at the end of my rotation. And then I'll reapply. I'll ask my school for a 6-month extension on my 6th year. Like I was supposed to graduate in December 2016, but I asked for an extension so that I can do more rotation in the US. So I end up graduating in June 2017. So I reapplied for sub-internship rotation in Brooklyn again, so I can do more like focused pediatric rotation. And then I'll go online and look up like some other way to get other clinical experience, because the hospital that my school sent us to is pretty small, and the pediatric department only have like 2-3 attending, and I only work with one, so I can only get one letter from her. So I I know that I need more letter. It won't work with one. So I decided I need more clinical experience somewhere else, like different from the school system. So I went online, I looked up, I found some agency that you can like pay a fee. So they arrange you with some clinical rotation clerkship. So I did that. I did 2 months in Houston, Texas. I did family clerkship and another ped clerkship. So I got 2 letters from there. And after that, I went back to Hungary to check my licensing exam in Hungary, because every Hungarian student have to take the exam before graduate. So I took that, and then I took my CK exam. Yeah, and
So
then it would. Yeah.
So looking back, do you think that 6-month extension helped you a lot?
Yeah, it did. I think it's the crucial thing in my application, because I got 2 more letter from a US doctor, and I would get like 2 more months on my clinical experience. Because like when I applied, when I start doing the application, I read a lot of criteria, and some hospital, they have a requirement to have at least 6 months US clinical experience, and that 2 months actually helped push me to like over that limit. So I got like 6 months, so I'm good.
So
Okay.
would you advise if someone from Vietnam, they will stay 1 more year in medical school?
I don't know. It's gonna be really depends. First of all, I don't think Vietnam allow that. That I don't know. I don't really know the system. But it might raise red flags on your application too, because during the application, they will ask you if your medical education got extended or delayed due to any reason. Like for me, I was able to put no, because my school have a policy that for 6 years you are allowed to take up to 2 years. So it is normal for my school to have 1 to 2 year doing rotation. So for me, it's okay, because like my school won't raise any red flag about delaying or extending anything. But for Vietnam, the program is like they schedule the program, they schedule the rotation for you. You don't really have any flexible in it. So if you ask for an extension, it will be a red flag on your application.
I see. Sarah, is your camera on, or you just want people listen to your voice?
Yeah, because I'm using my phone right now, because my laptop is still upgrading. I don't know what happened.
Excuse me, we should talk about something about the culture in our webinar. People should show up face and fix up the name. Some people are users, so we have no idea what's the name or something that we should follow some rules here. Thank you.
Great idea, and then please go ahead.
Okay, yeah, for those who haven't make your name easy to recognize, or easy for other to call you, then yes, say sometimes to change your name. While we are still waiting for others new recently met doctor to join us, but Sarah is kind of a special case. I think Sarah may not represent the majority of Vietnamese medical students here, but I think Sarah is an example of dedications and ambitions, and you really have things to like plan ahead, a very good preparations, I believe, and investment also. So a lot of things that have to come together in order for you to be successful. And Sarah, you have all those things, and when I'm kind of pretty confident that you're gonna get matched this year, but I'm still very, very happy that you get into the program that you love to. So again, congratulations, Sarah.
Yeah, thank you.
But one thing, yeah, all of them, all of the criteria, all of the things you've been through, which one you think is more applicable to our medical student if they plan to apply to the US residency over here, whether they have to prepare early, whether they should really invest several months of their years or several years of their life study for the test or prepare for the test. Which, if you can name one or two things that you think really stand out, really boost your chance to get matched, which one you think? Which apply to our Vietnamese friends?
Yeah, I think two things that gonna make the difference is, first of all, the board score is like crucial. You have to get high score. Because I did get a question on my during my interview, like your step one wasn't really good, but your step two is okay. So like, okay. So yeah, like they actually asked about it. So make sure that your board score is good, and if you have the chance, do some rotation in the US, like either through like your own connection or through agency. It really helps, especially in the letter of recommendation, because I think most of them don't, like most program, they don't really focus, like actually read the letter of recommendation, but they actually look for like who it's from. Is it from US doctor? Is it from like clerkship director? Is it from the program director? So that actually really important.
So how about Win Medical Center? Is there any role that you have? MLE.
Good idea, and Dean. Actually, you bring up a good point. This is on the it's had nothing to do yet, but actually that's a good point, because I mean, in the process, affiliate with USC and then to become a teaching science for them. So if I take that position, I will start as an assistant professor. So I mean, yes, this will carry some names with a logo on it. So it may. We see. All right, go back to Sarah. By the way, guys, if you hear, please turn up your background, because I can hear some background.
Yeah, there's someone from the background.
I think from Dr. Thúy, I think so, but I can't turn it off.
Can you turn it up, because now you're the host, not me.
Okay, good now. It's okay.
Okay. Yeah, I think that I can not stress more about the step scores. Of course, when Sarah get the interviewed, then definitely they go through the test score. I just want to ask Sarah to, again, clarify why there's some discrepancy between the two step score. But yeah, step score is very important, and actually there's some cut off point from the program I was in the past. If you not meet certain score, and yeah, if you IMG, AMG, they have lower test score, it's okay, but IMG, if you not meet certain test score, then your application go bye-bye. Yeah, and it's pretty fair in the sense that you don't know who that candidate come from, no idea at all. You don't know how they interact, you don't know how well they perform, how they look like. Why the AMG, maybe the score not too good, but well, that guy rotate over here. I know that guy, I talked to him, they socialize. Yeah, so definitely that's the advantage of AMG or whoever been rotate to the program. So that brings the second point, clinical experience. I know it's not easy for IMG to get clinical experience. But do your best, whatever you could. Volunteer is the minimum thing you can do, but at least expose to someone, and at least put them, if cannot get a letter, which I don't think if you volunteer you can have the official letter, but at least have as a reference. If they can call up and talk to someone that in the US is still better than some name somewhere in the corner of the world that nobody know of. And so these 2 points is super important.
Okay, I want to go back to the basic thing, because I believe that most of people here attended here, most come from Vietnam. So I not worry a lot about your knowledge, like steps to CK, but about step to CS. It's a little tough for them, especially that they don't have any experience with clinical skill in US, or about communication skill that VietMD follow to how to teach people data. So if you not land in the US soil, how come you can obtain clinical skill, especially about communication, without any help from us as a center? Thanks.
Okay, please. Actually, you know what? I don't want you. Make sure you and then can you turn off that person from? I can say that with MD webinar.
Yeah, who's that? No, I turned off.
Okay, that's
another
okay.
one. Okay. Who's using that account?
I think it's one of the CTU students, because only him can. Let me ask.
There's two.
There's 2 of them.
Yeah, 2 of them. I don't know who is who. If you ask, you want me to unmute them so they can talk.
Well, hai bạn nào mới dùng cái account của VietMD log in vô vậy? Hello. Okay.
Một là của, tôi nghĩ là chắc của chị Diễm Thúy, tại vì chị Diễm Thúy tại cái account đó, còn cái người thứ hai thì không biết.
Okay.
Vẫn còn một cái.
Một bạn đó, VietMD webinar nè, cái bạn đó xin em đó nói luôn, nói tên em luôn đi.
Lộ diện được không?
Không, em đó có lộ diện rồi, nhưng mà nói tên em.
Chị em log out ra đi chị, em log out rồi em vô lại.
Dạ rồi chị, dạ em log out.
Okay.
So Sarah, what specialty did you match into?
Pediatric.
Pediatric. Okay.
Sarah, do you plan to do any fellowship after this, or this is just you don't know yet?
I'm thinking about ID, infectious disease.
Wow, that's interesting.
Pediatric infectious disease.
Yeah.
No, go pulmonary sleep medicine. No, seriously.
Athan Dong to be your mentor.
No, but she will be a pediatric sleep, pediatric pulm sleep. They're rare. So
hey Long, Dong, I don't think many kids have obstructive sleep apnea. Okay.
No, but they have asthma, so.
A lot of them actually do, because they're born with like Down syndrome, Robin-Perez sequence people. A lot of them do have obstructive sleep apnea, and like there's only a few pediatric pulmonologists and sleep in the world. Very specialized.
Wow.
So it will be something fun to do, I think, but I don't know. I'm an adult.
Yeah, then Sarah has some patient and transfer to Andong when they grow up.
and I do have a friend that is a pediatric. I think she practiced in Atlanta, Georgia right now. So if you're interested, we can get you meet if possible.
Oh, Sarah, you have a job already. That's a good way to say you have a job.
Yeah, so your own set.
Actually, so could you just take control from now, because I have to take my sister to the airport. But I really want to see you guys here and say Congratulations, Sarah. This is a long journey for you, but it's worth it. Okay, and here everyone here at VietMD, very happy.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. So continue to teach medical English. Okay.
I will.
When me and Dean and everyone.
Okay. The two VietMD back again.
Yeah, I think you may need to broadcast on the YouTube channel if I log out. Okay, thank you.
Okay, so let's regroup a little bit here. We still have two VietMD webinar account. I don't know about the new one. Is that the same tree, the same one? I'm not sure, but you may need to log out and log in with your own ID. Otherwise, we'll use the VietMD account again. User, if you can, please change your name. There's an option to change your name, so it's easier for others to address you. And this is Great and Meet, so we're gonna promote everyone to the panelists, so we can see each other. All right. Good.
Okay,
so,
hello,
yeah.
Minh. I would like to ask people change the name. You can do that by you move your cursor or the mouse to the bottom of the screen, and you see participants there, and you click on that, and you will change your name. Okay. I would like you, VietMD webinar, change your name now, and the user change your name. It's our culture. You have to be show your face and your name, because that's one very important. You cannot hide in your face, and you don't, and you just use the nickname. It's not good at all. Okay, sorry about that. Thanks.
Yes. Okay. Okay, so just 1 minute for that. Okay.
So who else just matched?
Anyone else matched recently over here?
I think I am the only one here.
You're the only one.
I can also said that he can join us today, but I haven't seen him yet. I don't know that I guess it's okay to disclose something about him. Not that much. He just messaged me that he matched to his first join in Methodist Hospital over here in Dallas. So we have a few people together over here in Dallas, and yeah, together with Trish in Fort Worth. So maybe we form another VietMD chapter here in Dallas Fort Worth area then. So yeah, we have 3 people VietMD in this area. And I think Brian in the down south of Texas, I don't know whether he's gonna end up over here in Dallas Fort Worth after his residency. It's gonna be fun, but let's see. Okay, so no one here just got matched. Anyone here that thinking about apply for next year? Anyone having intention to go through the process that Sarah has been through? It just fresh in her mind right now, so it is a very right time for you to ask questions. Otherwise, I think after a year or so with all the intern workload, she just don't have time and don't really want to remember what's been through anymore. So if you have any questions, ask her now.
Yeah, I probably disappear after like July.
Okay, Nhi Hoang, you have some question. Let me turn your microphone on. Let me see. Where are you? Yeah. Okay, yeah, you can talk. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So because I'm preparing for USMLE, and now in my head, I have one question. Now I'm working as a child psychiatrist in Vietnam. but I really want to become a pediatrician in US. So I don't know if because I don't have much experience in pediatricians and how does it affect my opportunity to match if I practice in different field and I apply for different field in US.
So you want to switch from being a pediatric psychiatrist to just a pediatric doctor?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't think it really matter. I think in the US, even some people is allowed to switch a specialty. So let's say I match into family medicine and I want to go in internal medicine. I can switch the field and that usually doesn't affect. They will ask you why you would switch. And then as long as you can justify your answer and your choice, it will not be a problem. So for example, Dr. Nguyen, he actually was a radiologist, then he became a family doctor, and then he switched into internal medicine doctor, and then he become a rheumatologist. And so, it's not a big deal. And so you can do all that without any problem. I think what important is your clinical experience for that particular specialty, your letter of recommendation, and your score. And I think that's the driving factor. And it doesn't matter what you apply for, and you are allowed to switch specialty if you want.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that the fact that she's like you are the pediatric psychiatrist is actually like good for you because when they ask, they most of the time they're gonna ask you during interview like why, like what made you decided to change your specialty. You can say like because like you experience with children a lot and then like you develop as like a love for the specialty or something like that. And it's going to be easier to justify switching something that already related to children to pediatric, rather than if you're doing like internal medicine and then you switch to pediatric, that's going to raise more questions. It's going to be actually harder to answer those questions.
Yeah, thank you.
And
but I
by
think
the
it
way,
depends on the spot available. Yeah, that's correct, Dong.
yeah, well, I mean, if you are a strong applicant, then that becomes relative. But I think that actually pediatric psychiatrists do much better than pediatric here in the United States.
Agreed.
So, I mean, if I actually think about it, I would rather do pediatric psychiatrists here than doing pediatric because they do much better. I mean, I know that
I
that's not what you might want to hear, but that's what my knowledge is because the pediatric girl that I know in Atlanta doesn't do as well at their pediatric psychiatrist that graduating right now. So, I mean, psychiatry is like getting better in US for some reason.
Yeah, pediatric is the lowest paying specialty right now.
Correct.
yeah,
What do you think that about psychiatry, that your English skills are much more required rather than the other one?
Yeah. I'm sorry, I didn't say that.
I think her English is very good. I don't think it's gonna be a problem. I think she just have to pick up the slang and the lingo and how parents use the language, and she will be okay.
Yeah, I think that I'm not sure, but there's some, I don't know, thinking that Asian is a bit smarter. I'm not sure. Yeah, because seems like some score get into university, they have a little bit higher cutoff score for Asians. So yeah, for some reason, I know at least some of my patients that tell me that you must be really smart. I don't know. So it's I think that's okay. Again, it's just how well you are doing, how well you perform, how well you behave in your residency. You make sure that everybody behind you support you to switch, not because that she is really bad intern, bad resident, and then she run away from the program by switching to other program. Then then that definitely not work for you. But if you're a good dedicated intern and you committed communicate well with the attending, with your preceptor. They understand the reason behind that. They're supporting you, and I think that's not a problem. If it's your true, your true calling to shoot, then it should not be a problem. Okay.
Any other questions?
Anyone else? Hương Trần, you plan to come over here?
Actually, I have a plan to apply to the match in the 2020, and because of my gap year, and I want to finish step 3 before I match. So I know it's a challenging decision, and not so many of my folks do that. I mean, Vietnamese folks. So, Sarah, can you give me some your comments or your insights in how to perform well in the step 3?
Yeah, I can hardly answer that because I haven't done it yet. I think I'm down one when will be better to answer that question.
Yeah, sure.
Well, the question is how to do well in USMLE step 3.
No, I mean, sorry, I mean because basically you have to learn, but I mean, is that a smart choice for my case? I just worry about my gap year, which is 2 and a few months, 2 years and a few months. It's more than 2 years, and I want to do the step 3 to increase my chance of matching. And also to get a favorable visa when I come to the US for residency. So that's my reason.
No, I think that a good idea if you can afford and you can justify to the program when they interview you why you take that time off to do step 3. Because most of the Indian friends that I know, they get step 3 before they apply for residency. And if you pass step 3 already, it's one less thing that the program have to less worry about you when you come to do intern year. And on top of that, they don't have to pay for step 3 because most of the program actually pay for you for step 3. So if you can afford that and do well on step 3, I think that's an advantage. And so a lot of my friends who didn't match the first year, they end up taking step 3 and they have better chance of matching. So yes, definitely. If you think that will increase your chance, then I will definitely take it because any test that you get complete, it's more favorable to you. So yes, step 3 will definitely increase your chance.
Yeah, I saw Thao raise your hand, but let me just give a little bit input onto that. Yeah, it's a little bit different if you are AMG or you are green card holder only here. Yeah, because I talked to my program during my time over there, and yeah, for AMG or IMG, but green card holders, step 3, they, at least for my program, they not really count that much because it's a little bit difficult for them to compare those who have good step 1, step 2, but without step 3, because step 3 is not really required to get the people into the program. It's not one of the criteria. But yeah, definitely, if you did step 3 and ace step 3, then yeah, definitely it's a plus for you. But make sure you do well on step 3, because if you do horrible on step 3, then it's gonna be a minus on your application for sure, because step 3 is more about yeah, clinical question, clinical work, and if they don't know you and now you show that your clinical work is horrible, then it's really a minus thing on your application. So during my time over there, my program director said that I don't really advise that, because if you do great, at least for my program, it's not really a plus. Or if you pass in general, it's not really a plus. But if you do bad, then it's definitely a minus, especially if you are IMG. So consider it carefully. If you plan to take it, go for it, but make sure you really prepare well for it. Yeah, and Thao, what's your questions? Oops, unmute yourself, Thao.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Hi, I'm Thao. I have question to Sarah that because previously you mentioned that the letter of recommendation is more important than who is the one that write the letter. So I'm not sure, like for example, I go through a rotation electives with attendings and residents, then how can I have a letter of recommendation from the program directors or from the big names in the department? And the second question is that I already I already took step 1, and unfortunately the scores is not so high, quite low, I must say. And I still want to pursue the pathway to go to US residency. So can you shine some light at how can I improve my case, my CV or something like that? Thanks a lot.
Okay, so as for the letter of recommendation, most of the rotation, you will work closely with one attending, and it's like the first thing to do, like the easiest thing to do is to approach that attending to ask for a letter of recommendation. But like in small program, there's some chance that you might be able to get in contact with the chair of the department, which I don't know, it's quite hard to do that. But if you do a clerkship in a hospital, they usually have a clerkship director, and they usually do like an introduction to you, and they do an evaluation at the end of the rotation. So you actually get to talk with them a lot. So in my case, I got my letter from my clerkship director, which in like Thao is in my school, so which is in our case is gonna be like whoever gonna talk to you. Like for pediatric, it's Dr. Wooler, for example.
The Wyckoff, you mean?
In Wyckoff, yeah.
Oh, I see. Thank you.
If I were to advise you, I would do so. You will come to a hospital to do a rotation, and when you are there, you have to get every single chance to stay for one more rotation. Okay, so that's the goal. So let's say you go to Wyckoff Hospital and rotate with an internal medicine doctor that is not a program director. Your goal for that month while working with that doctor is to get to know the program director and ask him for an extra rotation so that you can get to know him, work under him. That way you can get a program director letter. And if your score is low, then you want to show that you have good clinical skill. And when you ask for the letter, make sure you ask that, can you write me a good letter, but I want you to highlight about my clinical skill, not about my score, highlight about my clinical skill. Because you can negotiate it. This is not something that you just ask for a letter and they write whatever. No, you don't want to do that. You want to write, you want to ask specifically something that they can highlight for you. So you come there, you do one rotation, you ask to go under the program director to do one more rotation, spend an extra month, 4 weeks, whatever that might be. And when you ask for the letter, you say that I want you to highlight about my clinical skill and not about my other aspect. Or you can write about my letter, but I want the most important from your letter to stand out to everybody who read is how good my clinical skill is. So that way you can bypass the score and then you still have the clinical skill from a program director, from a clinician with experience. And that's how you make your CV or make your package look more complete.
I see.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot. And I heard some people talk about research. Is that like was adding to the CV, or I don't know. Like is it was spend time and effort for the research to improve my CV?
I think so, but the research is difficult to get. It's very hard for a medical student to get a publication, even at a fellow level. It's very hard for me to get a publication. And most of the time, what I end up doing is writing case or doing poster for conference. And so if you want to develop that aspect of your CV, then when you do rotation, pick a unique case, write about it, go to one of the conference, present it, and so that you present something at the conference, then that's how it highlight you. But I think research is good, but I think for residency, I don't think it count a whole lot. And then for fellowship, yes, it count a lot if you know a lot about research to go into a fellowship. But residency, because most medical students come out, doesn't have that kind of experience unless you're in a PhD program before, then they don't count heavily at much. But it's always a plus, but I think it takes too much time to actually develop something that is meaningful. And so I think you just wasting too much time doing that it's not worth so much in that term. But then let's say if you're in a residency and you want to go to a fellowship, then research is very essential.
Yeah, like in my case, I don't have any research experience, but because my school have the thesis requirement before graduation, so I actually did mention it to them. So like they asked me if I if I have any clinical experience, research experience, and I said like no, I didn't really like actually do a research project, but I did work closely with my school advisor to like prep the thesis. So I know how to write a paper, and I actually mentioned our journal club, and they're quite happy with it. So yeah.
Yes. Academic activity. I think the whole thing is not just research, but academic activity is good. Like you're doing journal club, you participate in some kind of conference. Those are good because they count as academic, but research, I think it's difficult. And they know that too, that it's hard to get a paper published.
Yeah, especially if you plan to apply for some academic program, then it's likely a must because it's very highly competitive. But it's not that much if you apply for like a community program that they kind of focus more on the clinical skill. They want you to be almost ready, hit the floor running. So that's a bit less important. And again, budget your time. If you seriously want to involve into research, it's really cost your time. And sometimes you don't have a lot of time to spare. If you can just tag along with some, attending some researchers, get some knowledge about that, you can write that into your CV. But budget your times wisely.
Yeah, like if I have to choose between like putting my time between study for USMLE and do research, I would do USMLE because it like for me it's more important.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay. Yeah, just circle back a little bit. Like Landong said, you cannot change your score. One is already there, already set, and unfortunately low. But then try to improve your CV by clinical experience. Especially you can do US clinical experience. This will be great. Get to any attending highest possible program director is best. And get a letter from them. And for the academic program, they quite professional from my experience. So you have to conduct yourself. You have to show that you are hardworking, have good clinical sense, get to know them well, so that you can ask frankly about how to write the letter. So it's best that they can write a letter that really highlight for you, or over here they said like they bet for you. the second best is if they cannot write for you, they say, okay, I'm afraid I cannot write a good letter for you. At least you know that you may need to improve. You're not there yet. The worst scenario is that they say that they're going to write for you, but they should put like 4 or 5 lines to your letter, and that's horrible. It's not get you anywhere. So
like
yeah, so try to
can you write me a good letter straight out? Don't ask, can you write me a letter? No, can you write me a good letter? That's how it should work.
And
you may not request to see the letter. It may not make them feel comfortable, but they're quite professional. If they think they can write you a good letter, they say that. If not, if you ask to write a good letter for you and they say then then something else they can improve, things like that, and maybe try it again. That what my experience is.
Yeah, and don't be shy to ask, because they get asked every year. They use it, so just don't be shy to ask.
They use it. I think that one of my attending actually have a template, the letter template, which have all the phrase and adjective there. So when she agree, then she just put everything there. She may just sit down with you and go through your CV and ask you about your story to have some personal touch in the letter. But they professional, they have everything ready. So don't afraid to ask.
Yeah, like I got one of my attending have me sitting in his office writing my letter with him. Like, it's really weird.
That's amazing.
That's really close.
I didn't use that
for
one.
my case is that I write a letter and they sign it. So that's how it is. Right?
So it depends how
if you
close
ask a close friend to write you a letter and they say, I want you to highlight this part, and they say, why don't you write a letter? And I read it and I correct your grammar and I will sign the letter. So
that is it's really close. So it's you. So it's you how good you are, how you present to the people that they comfortable for you to do that. So it's a lot of work, but there's still chance. So if you still set your goal here, just try your best. And again, it's investment. There's nothing that you can guarantee that you can get in. Again, just face the truth here. There's no guarantee you can get in. Thousands of people out there dedicate, really want to get in. They still cannot. But just like any investments, you try, you get it, you're successful, you go forward. But if you fail, at least you try your best and you won't look back and you regret what if I have did this, have done this, what if I have done that? Just do your best and that you won't regret. And it's still an experience that you can carry with your life for other projects in life. So go for it.
Thank you. Thanks for all the answers.
Okay, let me see 2 people raising hand here. Oh, Hương, you have other questions?
Yes. I would like to ask about the visa issues because when I draw my plan, so I figure out that if I want to do the if I want to do observership, so that I may need to apply for the B1 visa. But it only lasts for 6 months, and then the next 6 months, if I need to stay in the US for a step examination or something, or to do more observership, like I need to apply for another visa. And although I can apply to a Kaplan course to have visa sponsors, but I'm afraid that if I switch between the classification of visa or the category, so it may becomes the difficulty when I mesh and I need to apply for visa sponsor from ECFMG, like they state in their booklet information. So what could be your recommendation regarding visa issues, like which should I pay attention to, or which visa class is the most suitable if you want to stay in the US more than 6 months?
Well, how much capital, I guess, how much capital, meaning how much money do you actually have? I think that will answer a lot of questions, because the F1 visa is probably the longest one that you can apply and renew, right? I think the F1 visa, the student visa, right? Correct? And
Yes.
so the student visa, it lasts as long as you declare what your profession is if you get accepted to that school. So I know a lot of the Vietnamese, for what they do to stay over here, that they will come on an F1 visa, and they will go to a community college where they just learn English, like a certain amount of hour per year or per day, and they pay a small fee to stay in that class. And they basically have to go to school, but then they only go to school a small amount of time, and the rest of the time they either go to work or they invest their time into something else. In your case, then it will be investing into how to apply to the USMLE system, ACMG system. Then that will be the longest visa that you can get. And then once you match into residency, then depend on what that residency program sponsor, then you can get a J1 or an H1 or a B, I think a J or an H visa. Then that will switch your class, because I think other visa expire too early. And then if you need to stay like 2 years, then the F1 will allow you to stay 2 years. But in that 2 years, you have to prove that you have income to stay in the US. And you also have to take classes that you can easily do, and then stay here to do the other stuff.
Thank you. Speaking of the like the capital, I think that my cap is about 20 to 25,000 bucks. So I think that maybe it's not enough to apply for full-time cost to get a F1 visa. So
right.
Yeah.
Then it's difficult that way. But as far as I know, the F1 is the best visa for you to stay long term. And then people found alternative plan when they stay on that. And a lot of them actually have family here. And so the only cost that they spend is just school and food, and they have a place to stay. They have a place to go to. And so, I mean, it's not easy. And then so you pick the best, but doesn't mean that you end up can get that visa.
Yeah, I think that like for F1 visa, you have to maintain a 12 credit semester to be eligible for F1 visa. So
right, but if she sign up as an ESL student and she only take like 3 classes of English, that's easy for her, right? Because it's not hard work. Then you can do that part time, and then the rest of the time you can invest to do something else.
Yeah, because I did the entire thing on B1 visa, so it's just a business travel visa. So I have to fly back and forth a little bit. But I don't know, if you compare the cost of flying back and forth and the cost of the entire like year of college, and I think flying back and forth is still better. Like, I don't know,
think
it's
so.
for me, yeah.
But I think it relatively depends on the college. Some college it's very cheap, and if you have a family that stay in that area, then it could be cost saving. But that will be something that you actually have to sit down and a pen and a paper and write out a number.
Yeah, because like the thing is, we as international students, so we pay the college fee on the international rate. It usually like 10 times higher than the like local rate. So it makes the tuition fee jump like a lot.
I agree. So don't go to a university. Go to a community college, and they are a little bit cheaper. So I know that there are popular college in Houston that a lot of people actually go through there. And then once you get to know those people or those F1 student, they can point out to you what other school is cheaper. And I think a lot of the school around the nation is actually cheap. And then a lot of them move to Michigan or Utah or something like that, so that they can get the benefit of the F1 plus the cheap tuition fee. But then if you go to those states, then you don't have family or something like that, that could be a problem. So I'm not sure what your situation are, but I think it's difficult regardless. Yeah. Something that you have to calculate carefully. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really true. If you from abroad and plan to stay in the US to study, it's good that you get yourself in the whole environment, and you cut away from all the distraction you may have at home. But then, yeah, it's costs a lot, and normally people have their base over here, family mainly. So that like Dong said, you just worry about the school fee and things. I just Google it a little bit. So seem like community college, they can sponsor H1B visa. I don't know about H1 F1 visa, but when I study for my step 1, I met a girl from not from Vietnam, but she's in Kaplan, under sponsor and under student visa from Kaplan. I know that studying with Kaplan is expensive, so I don't know whether she will move on after that to some other places or not. But yeah, it's the school can sponsor visa for you as a student visa, so explore the options. And hopefully Vietnamese or not Vietnamese, VietMD communities is getting bigger, and hopefully if you don't have family in certain place, see if you can tag along with someone, especially residents. They're gonna base in some place for at least 3 years. Maybe Sarah, you can share the room with her. Maybe do the housekeeping for her. She pay you like more.
It will be agreeable.
I actually have a condo here myself, and I live by myself, and I have an empty room. So I mean, it's interesting. But, you know, I'm just saying like how costly it would be.
Yeah,
and then
it's
unless
really
you have
something.
some kind of support, it's difficult. And so,
yeah, but just wisely, and if you know someone who's gonna be in the US, I don't think that is unfair to ask. And yeah, again, follow your dreams, but plan really carefully.
Okay, thanks for your very useful comments.
Okay, Nhị Hoàng again raise hand. Any other people raising hand? Just let a few people take over the forum here. But Nhị Hoàng, yeah, go ahead.
Again about choosing the field. So could I apply for both field like pediatrics and psychiatrists at the same time?
Oh, Sarah, it's right there for you.
Yes, I actually did apply to 2 specialty. I applied to pediatric and family medicine. So it is possible. You can apply as many specialty as you want, but be aware that if you apply to 2 specialty in the same hospital and they found out about it, the chances they will never call you again, ever.
Okay.
Yeah, so just make sure that if you apply to 2 specialty, choose different hospital.
Okay, thank you so much for your advice. So I can, but 2 different hospitals.
Right. And some hospital is very professional, and they do follow ACGME rule. They don't look at one another applicant, but some hospital do. Most hospital don't. So if you truly apply to like a US like very good hospital like University of something, they will never cross match the applicant. Some community hospitals do. And so it's a risk, but I think it's a low risk unless you apply to New York or something like that. They do cross match. New York hospital doesn't follow the rule.
Yes.
But that's how it is.
Yeah, so like because some of my program that I applied to, the coordinator of the program actually worked for like multiple specialty too. So it's always a risk that they see in both your names, like your name show twice.
Yes, so there's some risk there, but actually, do many people do that?
Yeah, most people do that. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, when I apply for like 3 different specialty. So I was radiant. My first choice, anesthesia was my second choice, and internal medicine was like my last choice. And so, yeah, you can apply to many as you want, as long as you're willing to spend the money.
And, yes. And I think I actually recommend it. It's always good to have a safety net for you to. So yeah, I think it's and even like AMG apply to multiple specialties, not just IMG.
It may be a little bit easier if you apply to kind of similar program, family medicine, internal medicines. I don't know, psychiatry is a little bit less, but it's still internal medicine in general. Because sometimes they ask you that during the interview that you apply somewhere else, and how is it? And if you don't want to say, actually that they don't officially they don't allow to ask those questions, but they ask anyway. And if you a good actor, actress, then you can behave nicely, then you tell your story that you already prepare. But if you are not well prepared for that, then it's make you feel a bit awkward. And it's very obvious, right? If you write a letter on the personal statement, say that I love internal medicines, and another program you write a letter, I love surgery, then it's gonna be strange if they happen to know that you apply to both really, totally different program. But apply for as many as you feel comfortable. You can justify your dream, not just because you apply everywhere because you have money. And it's going to cost a lot of money.
Because now I still cannot differentiate from a developmental pediatricians and a child psychiatrist, because it seems like they approach the same problems like autism, ADHD. So I think both way I can reach there, psychiatrists or pediatricians.
Yeah, so if you have the reason, it's justified, then definitely go for it, and no one can fault you for that. Like psychiatrists can have the niche market in pediatrics area, and pediatrics may have their fellowship in the psychiatrist. It's okay, and it's justified. So don't worry about that. They understand. Just don't do something really strange that you apply for. One is pediatrics and the other is maybe ophthalmology, thing like that. That totally not really related, remotely related, and then it's different story to justify.
Thank you so much.
I think the only drawback of applying to multiple specialty is it's gonna take you a lot more effort to preparing for your application, because you need a specific letter of recommendation, like specialty recommendation, and then you have to write like multiple letter of like personal statement and everything. So it's gonna be a lot of effort, like to apply to multiple specialties.
Thank you so much.
Hopefully you don't have like split personality after the whole process.
But you know me, like for US people like me, we go through multiple rotation, and every rotation we can ask a different specialty to write you a letter, because I have to do internal medicine, family medicine, surgery, and then my elective, blah, blah, blah. I can ask many people to write. I can get like 10 letters easily. But for you, I think it will be limited. And so you have to, I guess you have to vest it into just one or two that's very similar. Otherwise, you do not get enough people to write letter for you.
Yeah, exactly. And good letter, that's important. So it's a lot of investment if you like branch out too many specialty, if you not rotate in the US. It's very true.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Okay, you're welcome. Thanks, Andong, for that. There's a lot of like silent listener over here. Oh, it's 9:15 already. Time flies by fast. Anyone? Oh, sorry, there's some attendings waiting here. I don't know if our other people, newly matched candidate is here yet. Let me promote some over here. Okay, so before other have some other questions, more relevant questions, just ask Andong, how did you celebrate after you get matched, Andong?
Oh, I was I was matched in 2013. So me and a bunch of friends in Atlanta, We went somewhere. I don't remember exactly where, but some Vietnamese town area there. And we played pool. We eat something. I forgot what we ate now because there's so much choice down there. But I mean, we have a group of people. I have a group of friends that down there, and so I lived there for like 2 years before the match, and so I hang out with them all the time, and so we kind of hang out there and celebrate out there. I'm not a drinker, so I didn't get drunk. I know that for sure, or anything like that. But I think you work for me. Sometimes you work so hard to get something, and then you get in. It's so anticlimactic. You know, it you don't feel that great after you get in because you're like, shoot, I worked that hard and this is all I got. So I'm that kind of person, you know. And so I think that's my issue. But I don't know. It's so long ago I don't remember. But then the sad thing about my part is that I have a lot of friends who didn't match.
Oh.
And so I'm happy, but then they are a friend that they're not happy. And so, you know, you're sort of like happy for yourself, but then at the same time you feel bad that your friend get left behind, kind of thing. So
yeah, it's difficult. You
tough.
just cannot celebrate together as the whole groups. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So anyone raise hand? How? No.
So there's a question about how to study for step 2 CK, I think, from Hồng Võ.
Okay.
CK or CS?
CK,
and
CS.
also
CK and
for,
step 3 is all the same.
Yeah, from myself is CS, like because I only took step 1, step 2 CK, and step 2 CS. I haven't, so I still need some experience to prepare for it.
Step 2 CS for me, it's me and my friend, basically we take every weekend from rotation, like we did rotation in Atlanta. And so every Friday and Saturday and Sunday that we have off, we went to the local university and reserved a library or a room. And then we go through the first 8 CS question, all of them in there. And then we take turn interview one another and get and see, and then afterward match up to see how close we get to that, to match to that. Do we ask all the question? Do we come up with similar differential diagnosis at the end? And so we did that over like, I think 10 weeks or so, 10 weekend, 12 weekend or so like that. And then as you get better and better, you just know this is the question I need to ask for anemia. This is what I need to do when the patient complaining of migraine, turn off the light, all that stuff. And so it repetition, actually, that's all it takes. And so repetition of the same case so that you remember what question you need to ask and what question you need to ask to clue in or rule out a diagnosis, and then go from there. And so find a friend, and a friend who is not very open up and not willing to work with you, it's not going to help. You have to let go all the embarrassment, all the guarding, all that. You need a partner who want this as bad as you are, and then work together. And that's how I did it with my friend. So
yeah, I think that's a very good advice. If you have a friend that pursue the same dreams and willing to help you, but yeah, close enough to criticize, tell you what's wrong, then yeah, that's gonna be the perfect partner. For me, just my experience, you don't have to follow it, because when I hit US, when I arrived here, I lived old already, so I don't have left a lot of time to go around finding friends and practice and those things. So I applied for the captain CS courses, and I think that worked out for me because the setting is totally different from the way we do physical exam in Vietnam. Not that listen to the heart or palpate the belly, not that different, but yeah, the one doctor, one patient privately in the room, wash the hand, grade the patient, show compassion, care for their emotions, all those things that if you not in the US or in this similar kind of setting, you don't have. Back then when I was practicing in Vietnam, we may call like 4 or 5 patients in the same room, and we start asking questions. No patient privacy, thing like that at all. So it's totally not acceptable over here. Yeah, for me, I had to learn fast, so get that. But nowadays, information for that is pretty widely available. So you can get that online. You can watch YouTube video. You can, find a friend to work with you, to study with you, and that would be best. Someone you can really practice hand-on, so that you, besides the memory, you have like muscle memory. It's help. But at least if not, then have friend to practice the case with you over the phone. At least ask the questions, because you, if you're not really comfortable in using English yet, then have a friend help listen to your questions, correct your mistake if possible. Is really helpful also. Let me see. Anyone else just joining us? Okay. Any
In the
questions?
meantime, can I have one more question? Sorry.
Yeah, I saw. Yeah, so sorry, Hương Nguyễn is raising hand, so let her ask the question first. Yeah, go ahead, Hương Nguyễn.
I want to introduce something about myself. My name is Hương. I'm a final year student of Hanoi Medical University, and now I'm an exchange student, and I study in the US, in West Virginia University for this semester. And I want to congratulate 4 Vietnamese doctors who I met this year. And second, I want to ask a question. I really want to come back here to become a doctor, but I don't have any relatives or my family. We don't have a strong finance. So I want to come back here to do PhD program and to earn money, and I want to prepare for USMLE as well. So do you know anybody be success with this plan? I mean that is this possible that I can follow my plan? Thank you very much.
Okay, and now he has experience about this.
I have not meet anyone that go through the PhD route, so I don't know how to answer that question.
And there is one doctor this year, Anh Hoàng. Actually, he doing PhD in his final year right now, and he mapped to internal medicine.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
So
maybe your
how
question.
did that route go? So do you get the PhD and you end up work in the US and can stay?
So like I think basically you do PhD and you got the visa. I think it's J1 as well, but on the research side, and then I think he used that time to study for USMLE and apply for residency matching. And then he planned. I don't know. I think you're gonna have to ask him more, but I think he planned that so that he finished PhD and he must try away into residency. So he can actually switch his J1 research into a J1 clinical.
Oh,
so basically he doing PhD and at the same time applying for the residence.
Yes, yes, that's my question. Thank you. So
yeah.
Is it Dr. Hoàng Nguyễn who is best this year? So I can ask him more questions about this.
Yeah, let me check his full name.
Okay.
Yeah, actually from my experience in my program back then, almost 10 years ago, I have a few co-residents that study in the US for an MPH, Master of Public Health degree, quite a few of them. And yeah, and during that same time, they study for USMLE, took the tests, and I don't know, get any clinical experience or not. I'm not sure, but yeah, they may have some relationship with the doctor to may help them. I don't know about how much they have to work for that, to work and study at the same time. I don't know how difficult it is, how demanding their work is, so I cannot answer that. But yes, several of my co-residents actually have studied for the Master of Public Health here in the US while prepare for the USMLE. And also there's a PhD also, also did her PhD over here and then switched to become a doctor. She's a doctor in China actually, and then she's did some research, a PhD over here in the US, and then go back to be a doctor. So there are people like that. How difficult it is, I'm not sure. I guess it's difficult because you have to do two things well. Otherwise, it's gonna be difficult for you if someone from your work said that you do the horrible job at your previous positions and just focus on this, become a doctor, then yeah, it may not be so good for you on the paper. Yeah, so it's possible, but I don't know in detail.
Okay, thank you for your information. And I want to ask more that for master degree, do I have to pay for that? Like, do I have any chance to get a scholarship for master degree? Because I know that for PhD, some professor or some university, they pay me for this. So what about the master degree? Do I have to pay for that? Or some university they can offer some scholarship for master degree.
I think they have a variety of both. You depend on what you apply and what program it is, and depend on the university that you apply to. So you have to specifically do the research and find out on those, because all the master and PhD program, they do have either scholarship or they pay people to do the work for them, but it's not all. For example, if you get a master MBA, then you actually have to pay a lot to get it. But you know, Master of Public Health is a different story. Some program actually sponsor you to do those. So I think it depends on what program and what university you go to.
As far as I know, most university they don't give out sponsor for master degree, but there's a lot of like government scholarship and like private scholarship that actually sponsor you for master degree. So you can you should check it out. Like.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, just one thing about from what I know, Master of Public Health from Vietnam, you may get some sponsor for that, or scholarship either. But then you may need to affiliate with or work for a government or official organizations. So they can send you there. You can get a scholarship to get there, but then you may make them look bad if you end up like dropped the work you do and go back. Not go back home to serve with your new degree. Instead, you stay to work here as a U.S. Doctor. So it may put you up and put the program who send you in a little bit awkward positions. That's something you may consider. So that's my experience about that. And there's a comment from Hong Võ is that all master degree in US is considered higher education and very little financial aid. Yeah, it's for most other master degree, but for public health, I think for doctor in Vietnam, I think at least several years ago, it's still you may still have some scholarship from as a doctor from Vietnam.
Thank you. I will do research more about it.
I actually have a friend right now working at my hospital who is working at a nurse and then at the same time applying for USMLE. And so I think now that I'm thinking about it, I think that some people have different way of doing things, and this guy do it differently. He's from Africa, and so he actually able to get nursing degree and work. And while he worked, because nursing in US it's very different. You work for 3 days a week, 36 hours, and then you have the rest of the week off, and that's considered full time. And then the rest of the time he spent that to study for USMLE and work to get step 1, step 2, step 3 in. And so something to think about, that maybe you should get a career in that, and then you stabilize, because if you get nursing, then you can apply for the visa to work at nursing here. And then while you stay here, while you're doing nursing half the week, half the other week, you can spend time to do for USMLE. So that's why you financially supporting yourself, and at the same time put yourself in a position so that you can apply and pursue your dream. And so if you think about long-term goal, that is not a bad idea at all. And I think that's new for me. And so because a lot of nursing do get visa to just work in the US too. And so that's something that you should look into if you have financial situation that you can handle, because nursing pay quite well. And you can sustain yourself by working 3 days a week. Yeah, I think that's the reason. Yeah.
Yes, I think it's a very, very good idea. But the thing is, if I want to become a nurse in the US, it means that I have to study in a US university to get a nursing degree, right?
You can do a 2-year RN from a community college. You don't have to have a BSN.
So 2 years in community college, but I have to pay for that, right?
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I think you should make sure that RN qualify for an H1B visa, because I think H1B visa is sponsored for those who have like college degree and above. So RN, I don't know if they qualify you for H1B. So you I'm not sure. So just make sure that you check it before you commit yourself.
Right.
Yeah, do your homework on that. And one more factor is that you need to budget your times also, because you study that and then you go to work as a nurse. And if you slow or not focus on your studies, the 5 years, 7 years goes by, and it's make you become an old candidate, and it's maybe a bit harder to compete with a new fresh newly grad doctor. Then that's something really also put you in the difficult position also. So there are many factors to consider.
Can I ask one more question?
Yes, go ahead. No one raised hand. Okay, go ahead.
So if I finish my PhD program, it means that at least 4 or 5 years later, I will take USMLE exam. So at that time, I will be an old candidate for USMLE must.
Likely. But then you have a PhD to sort of like back you up. So, I mean, there's some minus, but there's some plus. And so, it's difficult, and it's hard to balance which way is better. So, I mean, it depends. Like when you're in that PhD, make sure that at the end of your graduation, you did something that related and big, or at least significant, or have an impact factor. Then I think that will contribute some, because there are people that I know that doesn't match until like 8 years later, and they still match. And I mean, it's rare, but it happened. And so, it's because in that 8 years, you have the opportunity to do a lot of things, significant work. And then you also have the opportunity to meet people around here and find an advocate for you, I guess, it's the right term. So, I mean, success based on that, it also works. So you find an advocate that will advocate for you. Sometimes that will help you out a lot.
Yes, thank you.
It's very difficult to say which way will work. It just, I guess you plan your best and take that route and see what happened, but there's no guarantee. Is there iffy part in all of this.
Okay, I got
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Thank you.
Everybody
very
have
much.
their own situation that there's no one size fit all solutions. So yeah, you have to do a lot of homework. Feel free to ask, but then you the one who make decisions. Sometimes you ask too many questions. Everybody give their own version of answer, and then it's make you even more confused.
Correct, but we never walk that route, so we don't know. Those are the options that's available, but we never walk that route. We don't know how likely that to be success. And we all take different route, and so I can't guarantee anything. The only guarantee is that you here, you go to school here. That's the only guarantee we got.
Thank you very much.
Maybe an option also. So I see someone raising hand. Trang Nguyễn, you have questions? Where is Trang Nguyễn? Yeah, go ahead, Trang Nguyễn. Ask your questions. Do I mute you? Oh, you need to promote those panelists. Okay. Okay, go ahead, Trang Nguyễn.
Hear me?
Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
I'm John, and I'm a 5th year medical student at Phạm Ngọc Thạch Medical University in Vietnam, and I will graduate in 2019, and then I will go to the US and studying for the USMLE. But now I don't know which specialties I would choose for the future. So how about being a anesthesiologist? Can you show me some experience on that field?
You want to be an anesthesiologist? Is that what it is?
Yeah, anesthetist.
Bác sĩ gây mê, right?
Gây mê, yes.
Close to anh Đông.
Well, that's a very high, that's a very difficult profession or specialty to shoot for if you're it's an IMG. Then you need to make sure that your step 1 score is in the 250 to 60 range. That would be my first recommendation. So without that kind of score, you're not going to match into anesthesiology being a foreign grads, period. It's no chance. So that will be the thing that's the only recommendation I have. Everything after that will be your package, who you know, and whether you have a good rotation with anesthesiology in the United States or not. But unless you score in the 90th and you score in the 99th percentile, it's difficult. Even for US graduate, they have to score at least like 245 or above to be considered for that specialty. But it's a great field, and you will make a lot of money, and your life will be great after you get in, for sure. But it's difficult to get there, yes. So, I mean, usually nowadays in the United States, anesthesiology, for example, right now I work in pulmonary critical care, and I do a lot of bronchoscopy. And basically the whole unit run by one anesthesiologist, but there's multiple CRNA work under them. And so they highly paid, and they are very specialized, and they have people work under them to relieve the work stress, because they themselves cannot do all of the work. And so it's a highly competitive field. It's very competitive.
Yeah, I second and Dong. It's super highly competitive. If you plan to go for that, I think it's a good idea that you're gonna prepare yourself very well for any other position or specialty you plan to apply for. So that make you really work really hard. And I only during my residency, I have one of my co-interns got matched into anesthesiology, and he is super smart, way smarter than I am, and I know that it's super competitive. And he's got top score. He's got publications, and yeah, but he's also matched into top school in Stanford, and now he's attending over there. So that whole story is just it's really difficult, but it's a very rewarding position if you get matched, if you work in that field. And I'm really up for you to gear for that. And again, if you cannot get into that specialties, you still very well ready for any other specialty that you want to go to. So yeah, go for that. But about choosing your specialty, don't choose because it's money. If you plan to work as a doctor in the US, most of the time money is not the problem you have to worry for, unless you plan to work 1 day a week and and then still earn a good living. Yeah, if you a doctor over here, even a very low pay kind of doctor, psychiatrist, for example, your salary still like, I think psychiatrists nowadays around the lowest around 150K, right? Roughly.
Oh, not anymore. Psychiatrists actually on the shortage in the United States, and they're actually getting paid very well right now. And they're allowed to do telemedicine. They sit at home, they work at home, they do telemedicine, they live in California and see patients in Michigan. So psychiatrists are getting recognition right now because they, for many years, nobody want to go into it. But right now they have a big shortage, and so the pay have increased.
Okay, yeah, especially with the shooting right now, then when the psychiatrists become more important. Yeah, but if like 150 is the low end of doctor salary, is still, yeah, well, triple the average salary of US citizen over here. So yeah, don't worry about that much. But of course, if you become an anesthesiologist, then you well in the, yeah, 300, 400K a year. So so yeah, just so some incentive for you to go. Yes, and then
I would like to tell you something. Yeah, I don't want to discourage you, right? Because you're young and your whole future in front of you, right? But anyway, sometimes you have to be practical. If you cannot get in anesthesiology, maybe you have the second alternative. It's a nurse anesthetist. The income may maybe 100 to 150,000 a year easily, and your job is maybe a little bit less stressful. But anyway, just think about practical. You have many choice. You have option A, option B, and option C. So you have to be practical to choice. Thank you.
Yeah, exactly. Just like I mentioned earlier, it's investment. There's no guarantee. So yeah, have
but I
option.
think if you shoot for anesthesiology and you fail, it's like American people always say, it's like you shoot for the star and you fell on the moon. It doesn't matter, right? So you shoot for anesthesiology, but you can't get there. Your score is still pretty high for you to get another subspecialty that you work. You don't have to really worry, because if that's your goal, then you truly work for that. I think even if you fail at that goal, you still land somewhere else that is acceptable. So that's not something I worry about, but yeah.
Yeah, I just talk a little bit about anesthesiology. One of my friends, he's an IMG, but he's Caribbean IMG. He went to anesthesiologist this year, and when I talked to him, he said that most the program they care the most is knowing you. So if you do rotation with them, the chance that you get interview and match to their program is significantly higher compared to you never like met them before. So if you plan to go to anesthesiology, find rotation to do in anesthesiology is like crucial. They want to know you. And I actually know one doctor. He is an anesthesiologist in the US, but he actually started his career as a pediatrician. So he did the residency in pediatric, and after he finished it, he applied to anesthesiology again. and he did the residency there. So it's a way to go. It's gonna be hard because they will ask you why do you change your specialty, but it's another way to like look at it as he told me, like you have to get your foot in the door before you can actually choose the room.
Correct. And that's a long way to go, because I start out wanting to be a radiologist, right? And I couldn't get into radiologist based on my score alone through the U.S. system at that time when I applied. And so I always thought that after internal medicine, I would reapply and I will have a really good chance of getting to radiology afterward. Once you learn how to diagnose and how to do physical exam, radiology become easy. But then, things change. And so you don't necessarily want to go back and do radiology anymore, because you learn something, you change your mind, you want to do something else. So you can always repeat the residency. I mean, for me, I can tell you firsthand that you can even change career if you wanted to, because I do multiple career by now. And so that's possible. It's not an issue, but shoot for what you want. And then if you can't get that, get something else and then go back for it. Because once you have a residency under your belt, you can do practically anything you want.
Yeah. Get your foot through the door first. And it's open the option for you. And I have a co-resident. She matched into the program as the primary care track, like for for primary care provider in general. But she switched along the way as she showed that she good, and she switched to the categorical track. And then she's do good with she have good relationship with the rheumatologist, and now she matched into the fellowship in rheumatology, and she kept moving on. So just get you through first, and then it's the door to residency is pretty narrow, but once you get through, it's opened up many doors for you in the future. Okay, so right now we almost past 2 hours mark.
She raised her hands.
So I think Hoài Thư asked a question, how about general surgery? General surgery is not as competitive as you think. But I think you have to have a certain amount of personality to go into that field. You have to show up, live to the standard of the surgeon. I personally hate the attitude that the surgeon displays and the resident that they have when I rotate with them. And even now, when I consult surgery to see my patient, I just don't like the way they do things. And so it's not one of my things. But surgery is, I think it's considered to be one of the most malignant specialty in the field of medicine. I think the people in there carry a certain amount of personality, a certain amount of attitude for you to fit in there. I will not fit in there. But, but general surgery, or in general, any kind of surgery is pretty tough unless you do ENT. Well, even ENT have to be on call, but, they probably the least on call surgery ever. But surgery, it's very tough to go through. The training is it's very malignant, and it's very tiresome.
The longest too.
And you come out a different person for sure. So, I can guarantee that, but I can't say much to that. I hate surgery. I can't do surgery. Not because I'm not good with my skill. It's just that I don't like to live around those people.
Most surgeons they work in the OR, and the OR have very different culture, and you have to cope with that because it's very limited. When they accept you, you have a lot of challenges to overcome.
I know their ego is just so suffocating for me.
Hopefully, no one here is letting go to surgery and got passed by.
I think if you want to, you should go. But in general, training for surgery is very tough. Right
Yeah,
now,
just say
I'm
around
going
early in the
to
morning.
I'm going through a tough few months of my training right now, but I can guarantee you they have worse. So I can't imagine. So
Yeah, it's a totally different setting and totally mentality, and you're gonna have different lifestyle also. Yeah, just like someone plan to go for emergency medicines, your lifestyle is different, your behavior is different, your way of bonding to other people on your colleague is different. So yeah, just see which one, which specialty fit you. And again, it's an open. I think it's good thing in the US in general. I think it's yes open option for you to choose, provided you work hard and really go for that. And think it's you can choose not too difficult. But of course, I have the friend switch from surgery. Just like Dong says, it's so malignant for her. She switched from surgery to internal medicine. And she's happy. So it's people preference. I don't know anyone switch from internal medicine to surgery, so I'm not sure about that. But really,
I think surgery have the most number of resident actually jump field. So a lot of surgical people who match into surgery and during their first year, they get out because they can't stand that. So
but actually, and even in internal medicine program, it's not every program is the same. I have a senior resident switch from an academic program to our community program because he said that the atmosphere is over there so malignant to him. So he don't want to put up with that, even though people seem smart. They talk about study all the time, but to him, it's just not his style. So he switched. So yeah, it's difficult to tell which is the best place for you, but the option for you to change, provided you work hard. You don't just okay, your guys not my type. I'm not gonna go to work. I just do the minimum thing. I'm not really care for my patient. Then in that case, you got kicked out of the program. You're not gonna move anywhere. So do it wisely.
So for Vu Nguyen, ophthalmology is a royalty subspecialty. So unless you have some kind of royalty in your blood, you won't get in. For cardiology, let's see, pulmonary critical care, the jet fighter pilots of internal medicine. And then cardiology is probably the most cocky subspecialty of internal medicine because they think they save life the most. So, I mean, every field have their own kind of thing. Cardiology, they overworked. They're very busy in the United States because I think cardiology is the #1 complaint in terms of hospital admission. But cardiology, you have to do 3 years of internal medicine and then 3 years of general cardiology. And if you want to do interventional or structural or EP, then you have to do extra fellowship. And they work really hard and they don't require a lot to get in. But once you finish internal medicine, then cardiology and pulmonary critical care, and one more is the GI. Those are the 3 most difficult fellowship to get into. And so cardiology, you will be fine. Cardiology will never have problem getting job or get paid. They do very well. They depend on the people in cardiology. The structural cardiologists, the EP, they tend to be a little bit more on the arrogant side, but most of the medical cardiologists, they're okay. They're not bad. You can work with them. You can push them around too if you want, but
I believe that the surgeon's behavior is much better recently. Except just said about 10 or 15 years ago, they so arrogant. But now they behave very good. Actually, because professionalism.
I don't know anything. I don't know. I'm not sure. I work with a lot of surgeons right now, and I stay away. If
It
surgical
confirm
critical
your
care come on, I sign off. I don't mess with it.
it confirm your your decision back way back then. Yeah, actually, I need to move out of here to go to my journal club. Andong and Nadine, can you take over the host? And yeah, you can run on. I can use the personal Zoom account, so don't worry. Seem like people.
I don't know how to run this, so I didn't take over. I don't know how to run.
Yeah. Okay. Let me. And then I don't know. I need to make you.
That's fine. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
First of all, that I don't have any experience about USMLE at all.
Okay. Bye bye. Got to go. Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, you can ask some question that as much as I can give you some kind of feedback, especially with Dr. Dong here. So you feel safe now. Okay. Thank you.
So who is this?
Raise the hand.
So please tell me about the period to apply residency. I wonder, I see if more than 5 years, you hard apply. So yes, if you graduate if you more than 2 or 3 years, then you will become more difficult than other people to compete for a spot in the US residency match. So by that time, connection become very important. So it's who you know and get to know the people, and then that will be better, because a lot of the people I know that match after 5 years and beyond, it's because they know somebody in the program who is, know the program very well, and they get to go into the program and get to know the people. That's how they match into the residency. So at that point beyond beside the score, I think connection make a big deal as well. So it will be difficult. The short answer, it will be difficult, but it depends on how you want to approach it and how you attack the problem, basically.
Okay, now Tung, you raise your hand, so you can put the question now. And would you please to turn on your camera? Okay, Tung. Yeah. Hello. Okay. Yes.
All right. Can you hear me now?
Yes, but please turn on your camera.
Oh, wait for a bit.
You see the camera icon?
No, I haven't seen it.
Let me see. Okay, now go ahead. You have some icon. You use a cell phone?
Yeah, I use my cell phone.
Okay, so that's why. Okay, because okay, now go ahead.
All right. So my name is Tung, and I'm in my 5th year in my medical school in Hanoi now, and I'm planning to take the USMLE soon. Then I'm thinking about so I'm in my 5th year, and the graduate examination will be like 12 months from now. Then to prepare it like mostly by the clinical knowledge. I'm wondering if I should prepare for the step 2 CK before step 1, or step 1 first, and then take this 2 CK after graduate, because the thing that I will be focusing on is about clinical knowledge to prepare for the Vietnamese national examination to graduate. So I wonder if it fit my thing that.
So are you trying to say that you want to take this next 12 months to prepare for the clinical part first before you go back and study for USMLE step 1? Because the test in Vietnam is basically clinical based.
Exactly.
Okay.
That's my question.
Yeah, I think if the standard of the test is similar, I think that would be fine, because there's no restriction on when you take your USMLE 1. But if you think that preparing for the Vietnamese test also help you with GA, And then also with the CK help you with the Vietnamese, then I would go that route. I think that would be fine. But to be honest, I don't know how similar they are in terms of testing question. So you might have studied for one thing and not be able to answer the question for the other test. So that's one thing that I think you have to be careful in thinking about that.
Yeah. So I might look for how it's different from the Vietnamese testing system.
Right.
The test step to CK and compare it. It can kind of
Can I
correspond to
ask?
each other.
Can I add something to that?
Yeah, definitely.
Because as far as I know, like step 1 should be really hard to score high, then step 2 CK. So a lot of students advise you to take step 1 first, because if you have not quite high score in step 1, but step 2 CK is really high, then it appears still better than you have really high score in step 2 CK, then you had a bad step 1 score, then it's not as good, like it's going down. So a lot of students still suggest you to take step 1 first and then step 2 later. So that's just my idea.
I see. Thank you very much. So step
Because,
1.
yeah, I don't have experience in that, because in the US we go step by step, and so I don't know how well it will prepare you for the Vietnamese or vice versa. So
Yeah, I actually do know a lot of Vietnamese doctors who are already doing like graduate and doing clinical work. They actually check the step 2 before step 1, because it usually takes them less time to prepare for step 2 than step 1.
yeah. So I guess, Dong, it's your choice.
Thank you very much. Very helpful.
Yeah.
Okay, any more question? Because we already have 2 hours already, huh? So we will finish it soon.
I just have a really quick question that because I'm gonna go to rotation in US soon, and I heard some feedback from my from my classmates that some residents or some attendants don't really pay attention to medical students, and I just don't know what I could do if that happens to me. Like, how can I grab the attention? Yeah, something like that.
Connection is probably the best, because I don't know where you go, and I think everybody is different, and the resident themselves are very busy when they do have to go to work. And so if they can if they can brush you off, that would be an easy thing to do if they're not very ethically or very ethical in terms of their responsibility to teach you. So I think be nice about it, but like you approach them and you say, you only have at the beginning rotation, you approach them and you ask them, what are your goals for me for this rotation? I think from a student perspective, you should go directly to the one supervising you and say that I'm here to learn, and what are your goals for me? And then by the end of the first week, you go back and you ask him, like, have I met your goal? And then if I have met your goal, and then I feel like this is the thing that I feel like I need to do more, can you find the opportunity for me to do this kind of stuff? So I will put it on a weekly agenda and go back and talk to the fellow or the resident and make sure that you talk to them, you eager to learn, you willing to go do anything for them. I mean, I'm not saying go get them coffee or something like that, but willing to go take an admission, go, do the clinical work, and then touch base with them on a weekly basis to see where you are and tell them that whether your goal is met or not. So when you ask them, what are the goal for me from you? Then when they give you the goal, then you can also tell them that this is my goal for this rotation. This is what I want to learn. I want to be able to do 5 intubation within the next 5 days, or I want to be able to do an admission by the end of the week. Then, that's what you work for. And when you laid it out clearly like that, then it's sort of like put them in tune and put them on a situation where you have to work with them. They have to work with you to meet that goal, because you set a goal and you're willing to match them, then there's no reason for them to brush you off like that. Okay. And then if that doesn't work, then you go higher up, you go to the attending and you say, this is my goal and I don't feel like I'm meeting this. Is there anything I can do to meet my goal? Right. So come in there, not saying that, just come in there. Don't come in there and just say, yeah, you know, I'm just here. Come there with a goal, with an attitude that say, this is what I want to do for the next 4 weeks. And be clear in your goal. And then on a weekly basis, check with them to see how far along are you with that goal. And
yeah, my advice, my advice is just to make sure, like, to make yourself useful to them. Like, the more they see that you can actually do something, the more work they will let you do. So what I did is we have daily round there, so I usually approach the resident and ask, like, may I present one of his patient today to the attending? And then make sure you know everything about the patient, not just your patient, every patient on the floor. Make sure you know them. Like, if they have any new lab result, you should have it like on your paper. And because, like, sometimes the resident, they don't check the lab like continuously, regularly. So sometimes they might need time to look it up. And when the attending asks, they didn't know, you can actually like help them. Like, here, I have the result, I just checked. But like, they're actually pretty appreciative of it. And if you help them like one or twice, they become more comfortable with you. They will let you, okay, so can you take 2 patients today? So I only have to do like 4 or something like that. So yeah.
So put yourself in difficult situation and do well in it. I guess it's the best way to put that. And I mean, if you do with me, then that's different, because, you know, I'm a different person, but there are residents out there that might not, their interest is not to help you. It interested to help themselves first. And so you have to think in that term. So you have to think how to make them look better. Then that will be you will become more receptive to them. And then you get a better reputation that way.
Thanks a lot. That's really helpful.
Okay,
Can I
that's
add something to that?
Any more question? Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So basically, I'm a 3rd-year medical student, so maybe I can add a little bit more to, you know, how to actually make connection with the resident a little bit better. So 3rd-year medical student, we don't get to do a lot of stuff, and then when we actually go to 4th years, they allow us to do more stuff. So that's why when you first come to the hospital, just don't, you know, go and do everything. First you got to learn the computer system, and then, you know, just pick up one little task by little. For example, you know, like they say, just present 1 patient a day, and then, you know, look up your patient, make sure you know everything about the patient, and then maybe ask them to write, like, you know, a paper, discharge paper, because a lot of them, they're very busy. So, you know, for example, they want to see what other follow-up appointments that the patient has. You can actually do that. You know, you don't have to do a lot of big things. So do little things first, and then the resident feel like, oh, this person is really responsible. That he or she's going to give you a little bit more task to it. And then, you know, the more trust you build up, and the resident, we're going to give you more stuff. So, for example, for us medical students, when we first started our rotation, we only allowed to carry 1 or 2 patients each day. But by the end of the rotation, we were carrying 3 or 4 patients. So that's how we learn. So next year, when I go on to my 4th year, I actually learn how to put in orders. So I can put in orders, and then the resident can just co-sign it, and then, you know, they can sign it off. So it's actually just learned by little, but also the computer system is also really helpful, because it's really complicated, and each hospital, sometimes they have different computer system, and also each specialty, they have their own system too, but now they all merged into Epic. So that's why, like, just take the first week, learn the computer system, and then try to do little by little, and then, you know, everything will just fall into place. And with the attendance, a lot of time, you know, we medical students get ignored a lot, because, you know, the attendants, they're busy, so they keep, you know, they rotate in a lot. So it depends on the places, but if you really open up yourself, just go chase them, you know, like say, hey, I'm really interested in doing this and that. And some of them are really nice, but some of them are really not nice. So you just have to learn who's nice and then just move on. So I think that's all my advice I have for you guys.
Thank you, Hùng. I believe you are student in New
Yeah.
York, right? As New York City.
No, in Massachusetts.
Massachusetts. Thank you.
Yeah.
Sorry. Okay. Okay. Now go ahead. The other one question. So you learn a lot from today. Okay, I can see that from you is a varieties of people. Some people that still in Vietnam and plan to go to US for USMLE. Some people already landed here and do something and some have experience. So it's a good idea. We exchange some ideas, some experience about it. Okay.
Can I just say one more thing?
Sure. Yes.
Yeah. So the reason why I'm really, happy with this group is that, Vietnamese community are not known to help each other. I noticed that. And, in our state, we have one hospital, and that hospital have a lot of Indians attendants. And what I noticed is that you have a lot of Indian residents in the floor with them. So basically 80% of the hospital are Indian based. So that's why I noticed like Indian doctors will help Indian residency, for more people to get in. So I'm really happy that we Vietnamese start doing that too. So this group is like the base for us to actually grow a little bit bigger. So I really appreciate this group, and I think it's a wonderful thing. And if you notice, if you see a lot of Vietnamese, doctors chase after them, make connections. I think Vietnamese people are really shy when it comes to making connection with other people. And I think we need to learn how to help each other instead of, competing with each other. Like that's one thing that I think we are lacking, compared with other ethnicity like Japanese or Indian, especially Indian and Chinese. They're very strong with helping each other.
I think the most difficult thing for me is just how to practice. Like, I don't know. Like, it's really hard to communicate.
See, so that's why, like I noticed that as a medical student in the United States, they actually teach the student how to talk to patients really effectively. So it's more of the communication skill, which I think the Vietnamese community doesn't have that. So I think we just have to change a little bit, the way, especially with our younger generation. If we can change it, then, people will start following it. So it got to start somewhere. So I think this group is really a good place to start. Yeah. And I really appreciate all the doctors here because, you guys really appreciate the connection that you make. In medicine, sometimes like connection makes everything. You know one doctor and then they write you a good letter in that specialty, especially, for example, some specialties really small like dermatology or orthopedics. One good letters can get you in the program.
And they also not enough Vietnamese doctor in strategic position, right?
Yeah,
so
exactly.
You need to work so that you target yourself into a strategic position so that you can control a department or you be head of a department or something like that. And there's not a lot of Vietnamese doctor out there that is actually in specialty. And so me and Huỳnh is always try to get subspecialty to come in, because it's likely that if you are a cardiologist, you will be able to have a lot more influence than just a pediatric doctor. Or if you're a pulmonary critical care doctor, you can end up control a lot of the influence in the hospital. And I think when you have that kind of influence, then it's easier for you to be in the strategic position to bring in more people that you like to see. And because that's how it works. And I mean, South American people have all the attending South American, Indian have all Indian, Caucasian have all Caucasian. Yeah. And if you go to the Brooklyn Hospital in Brooklyn, New York, there's a Malaysian doctor that run the internal medicine program there. And when I interview with him, it's all Asian. I mean, it's all Vietnamese and Chinese. And I want to get to that program, but he didn't like me for some reason. So eventually you will see the cultural, I guess in America, you call that what? Clique, I guess the clique that you belong to, because the program that I'm at right now is all South American. And I'm the only Asian in there. So, it's weird, but that's how it works.
That's why you have to become the director.
I need to. I definitely want to be that.
Yeah.
And I think you have to think about that to be strategically place yourself in a place that you can make that kind of influence. Otherwise, it's not going to happen.
Can I have a question?
Sure.
Yeah. So if we can have letter recommendation from Vietnamese doctor only, is it okay, or should we try to get letter from doctor from other culture?
It's not a cultural thing. It's the people that you work with. So whoever you work with and know you well and can write you a good letter, that person will be fine. It's not the letter. It's not a racial thing. But you know, let's say you work with me and I write that letter in a way that it make the reader know that I know you very well and you're very a personable kind of person, then that speak volume more than, you know, looking for the same race. It just happened that the Indian people take care of themselves, and then there are a lot of Indian people that are program director or unit director or something like that because they work for a long time. And so they're in that position to write you that good letter. And so right now, if I write you a letter, it doesn't mean anything because I don't know you that well. But then let's say I am an ICU director of a hospital somewhere, then I write you that letter, it have a lot more meaning. So that, I mean, it's just how the system works. And so it's not about looking for the same ethnicity to write you the letter. It's about whether you have that connection with the person that you work with or not.
Yeah, may I ask, do you mean the Vietnamese doctor in the US or the Vietnamese doctor in Vietnam?
In the US.
Yeah, no, I mean like Tu Nguyen, the question.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the Vietnamese doctor in the US.
Yeah, because if you have to like make sure, like I don't know, if the best letter is from US based doctor. It doesn't matter which ethnicity, but like US based doctor is the best letter that you can have.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, so that's all for today. That's all for tonight. Okay. So best wishes to you, and try to make your dream become true. And this is our best wish. Okay, so thank you, and thank you for your participation today. Okay, have a nice day. Have a good night. Okay, thanks. Bye.
Bye.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.
Goodbye.